Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Agree to Disagree podcast. I'm your host, EmpireJeff, and today I'm excited. You guys are lucky. You don't get to hear me talk by myself all day today, which is always good for those who are listening, right? Because, your boy Jeff talks too much. But anyone who knows Laker Twitter or just overall online Laker basketball talk, my guy right here, formerly known as, see if I can get this right without a tongue twist, Lake Show Joe from the Lake Show Show.
It's a lot. Yeah, I'm actually working on trying to change my Twitter handle right now to make it more simple. But
Yeah,
yeah,
so
the Lake Show is a handle on Twitter. If you want to hit a follow,
there we
for
go.
sure.
We're gonna call him now. We're gonna call him Coach Joe. So
Yeah,
that's
let's
kind
do
of
it.
what he's transferring over to. How you doing, man?
I'm doing blessed, man. Good to be here. Appreciate you having me on the show today.
Oh, no doubt. As soon as I got these things in my mind where I'm like, okay, during the middle of the series, early, I'm gonna talk by myself. As it gets later, we can finally start talking our trash. I did last time, but I'm gonna bring some people on as we get towards the end of these series so we can really break them down. I know you like breaking down film. So now that we up, 3-1 on these Memphis ass Grizzlies, it's time to poke some fun. It's time for us to
Yeah.
poke the bear, right?
Oh
It's
yeah.
time for us to do that. So let's start off with we're kind of work backwards here. Let's talk about last night's game because that's the most pressure or like the most like my blood pressure has risen in a playoff game in a while. How was
Absolutely,
you
man.
feeling?
Man, like so. I was. I'm gonna be honest. Look, I don't like to say a lot of stuff on Twitter that how I really feel because people don't know how to really interpret what you say. But man, I was pissed at AD last night, man. Like I was pissed. Like I'm looking at this dude in the fourth quarter, going into the fourth quarter with 4 points, and I was pissed, man. Thoughts start going into your mind. Let's trade this fool, all these things, and so like it it was at the point where like I was like I can't watch this, man. Like the Lakers are falling apart because I was telling myself like if Lakers lose this game, going back to Memphis 2-2, it's going to be a real tough 2 out of 3 series, and so man, like you, my blood pressure was super high. And then I was pissed at D'Lo. I was pissed at Ham. I was just heated, man, and like nothing was working for us last night. And so that's where I was at. I'm sure you were feeling the same way.
Yeah, you're watching that game. There's nothing more frustrating than something you're so passionate about, something you love so much, and you have zero control over anything. Right? You're just sitting there
Mhm.
in fan mode, and
Yeah,
I felt a lot of the same ways. But honestly, like I was more mad at AD in game two than I was in this game. You can clearly tell this game something was wrong. He wasn't right. AD's kind of earned my respect a little bit. He's been popped in the face nonstop. He's been bloody. Got a dead arm. Had to go to the locker room. Came back. He's doing what we complained about early in the year. He's playing through injury.
for
So I cut
sure.
him a little slack offensively. I think I felt defensively he was holding it down. But yeah, I mean, I think he needs to, for someone who is hurt as often as he's hurt, I think he needs to learn how to play more with pain, honestly, if he's going to be on the floor, right? So yeah, I was frustrating. D'Lo in game three had a great plus minus. He didn't put up a bunch of points, but just him on the floor just led to the huge lead. So he was a non-factor really in that game until those three threes, right? So he
Yeah,
was
yeah.
frustrating me. And I was just frustrated in general, like Braun doing the dribble, just shooting, three at the end and just
Yep.
yeah. So yeah, I was right there. So the obviously first quarter, I was feeling great. The
Mhm.
energy, especially after the first couple of minutes, I was feeling great. Then second quarter comes, and to explain how that whole energy shifted.
Man, so like literally the air out of the building was gone. Like it's the same thing that happened at the end of game what is it, game 3, where we're up big, Memphis comes out and they go on their little run. And so like just literally the momentum just went boom. And it's like the thing is like we're so close so many times. Like you got these plays where you hit that three, boom, the crowd's about to erupt, and we missed that three. Malik misses a three, D'Lo misses a three, LeBron, and so we're right there, and then the momentum just like, and I'm thinking, okay, here we go with this BS, you know what I'm
So,
saying? And so it was kind of painful to watch because we really couldn't get things back going again like we did in the first quarter.
yeah, I remember I did my best to stay off Twitter during the second quarter because I knew the Avalanche people were going to be there. And I always the ones who are just like, the Lakers get down 6-0. Like, it's over. It's over. We're going back to Memphis time.
Yeah.
I got a few of my guys that make fun for that, and it's fun. But you know, guys like us, we've both coached for, a lot of years, right? So
Yeah.
and for us, we know these games, especially
Dude's trying
momentum.
to hop on. I got to show you real quick. Mamba right here.
There we go. There we go. Mine's asleep right now. Thank God. But wow, they look very similar. I've seen pictures, but that's wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you'll show it him. He pretty much makes appearance on every show. You'll see him at some point. Um, but what was I saying?
So you
So
stayed off Twitter.
Yeah, so I try to stay off Twitter. But like I said, we coach basketball for so long. We know momentums. We know runs.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
a team can go. Today's league is so different because you can have a team that's up like 10, 15 points, and all of a sudden that lead is blown quick because of the 3-point shot, right?
yeah,
Or
yeah.
the way these guys get to the free throw line now is just crazy. And so my thing is I'm sitting there, okay, the second quarter, you could start to see it. You could start to see it. And I think the Lakers went in the half. I believe they were up like 1 or 2 points going in the half, right? I think they
Yeah,
were leading at half, right?
yeah, yeah.
And then you just get this feeling like, oh man, you know, some things are working for them. You know, Bain had kind of got established. I know no one could buy a three yesterday, but Bain had got going. We had seen a few glimpses of game two Tillman a little bit, right? As far as,
Mhm.
and it's just these second chance points were just starting to stack. And
Yeah.
I was just like, oh man, they don't have their two best bigs outside of Jackson, you know, and we can't stop them from getting second chance points. So I just remember that we couldn't buy a three. AD had yet to even really make an appearance offensively.
Mhm.
So going into the half, I was like, okay, because you know Lakers are notoriously known for having horrible third quarters, right?
Mhm. And this is
So
actually I think every game, correct me if I'm wrong, every game this series, they've beat us in the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken. I think they've outscored us every second quarter this series, so it's like par for the course in this
yeah,
series so far.
so they go to the half. We got a slight lead. We had a 15-point lead, I believe, right?
Yeah.
In that second quarter, they make a push. They come back. They go into halftime. How you feeling at halftime of that game? Are you confident? Are you nervous?
So at halftime, I'm thinking, I'm trying to think, what is Ham thinking right now? Because I'm thinking as a coach, the adjustments that I'm going to make. You know, a lot of people are saying Malik is not giving us anything. Are we going to go with Lonnie? A lot of people are been crying out for Mo Bamba to get a couple minutes here and there, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking because I think if I'm not mistaken, in the second quarter, Memphis started running a zone. And so it started giving us
Yeah,
trouble at the end of the
yeah,
second quarter. And we, you know, they were trying to force feed AD. We couldn't get the ball to him, and it was causing a lot of trouble. And obviously, if you know basketball, you know the best way to beat a zone is number one, get the ball in the middle, and
mhm.
secondly, you got to make shots. And we weren't doing either of those things. And so I was thinking, is Ham gonna adjust to the zone? Because I know that I even said it on Twitter. I said, I promise you, they're gonna come back in the same zone because we can't bust it right now. So that's
Yeah.
what I was thinking.
Yeah, and really the only thing the zone will give up offensive rebounds, but when you have one big in there and Braun on the perimeter, it makes it tough,
Yeah.
right? So we didn't have any type of advantage there without the shooting and without being able to punish them on the boards. But as they're coming out of halftime, I'm thinking like, you know, oh no, are we gonna get another bad third quarter? We can't buy a bucket. We're not shooting well. AD, like I said, is nothing. And then pretty much it's third quarter was pretty much back and forth. You know, they were kind of trading baskets. Nothing was getting real crazy. And then the third ends on the, I believe Ja got the dunk at the end of the third, right?
Left-handed
And they
dunk. Yep.
and they go, that was nice too. He went in with the right, came with
Mhm.
the left.
Mhm.
I believe they go up one, right? Going into the fourth.
Yep.
So they
Yeah.
won,
Look.
the
Yep.
second
They were
quarter and
fourth.
they won the third quarter. So the Lakers are sitting there, okay, they won the first quarter. Now it's time to win the fourth. And you know, the way the fourth kind of started, Austin Reeves had it going. I think D'Lo was in foul trouble at the point.
Yeah.
Dennis was frustrating the hell out of me yesterday. I know he was bringing great
Turnovers.
defense, but he was just throwing the ball like
Yeah.
Russ passes, like straight up Westbrook passes.
Yep.
And we can't have that with him if he's not giving us buckets. He's got to do his best to be a pest on defense and just don't turn the ball over.
Mhm.
Because when he does, it makes it real difficult. So it gets to the fourth. The first few minutes of the fourth is kind of back and forth, and then Memphis hits their stride. They
Yeah.
start to go, and I'm starting to feel the game is starting to slip away. Um, they kind of made their final push under 5 minutes, around 5, 6 minutes, and they go up 7. At that point, I'm starting to think, okay, all those guys were panicking in quarter one and quarter two. It may be our turn now. That was the first time I'm like, okay, I think we might lose this game. Were you
Yeah.
thinking that at that time, or were you just
So once Bain, I think it was Bain that hit that three at the top of the
yep?
key to
Mhm.
put us down 7. With about 5 minutes left, I started thinking, yeah, man, like we're deep in the water, and I don't think we could get back to shore, man. And so I started at this point. I'm like, it's like somebody close to you, somebody you love is just getting the hell beat out of them, and you just like, I
Yeah.
can't watch this, man. I can't watch this. Like, it hurts to see this, and there's just no life, no energy, no effort, and so all that was happening. I'm like, yeah, man, this is not looking good at this point.
And then once again, Rob Pelinka said hello because one of those guys that he got one more time. I'll say, let Rob work, but saying that all
I
year,
was
we
actually
know
about
that.
to say that. I was about to shout you out because you literally been telling me that all season. I'm sending him my complaints, and dude's like, just let Rob work, just let him work, just let him work. And man, yeah, he did,
Yep. And Rob Pelinka's fingerprints and smile just shine. D'Lo hit back to back to back threes and swung the game. right then and there. And one thing I will say, another part of that, I know people are really, really bashing Beasley right now, and he has a point. I mean, we have a point as far as the threes he's missing. However, they're not leaving him open. They're not leaving him. So that's one less guy to double team Braun or AD. So he's still serving a purpose there. Teams haven't gotten to the point where they are daring him to shoot open. They still aren't doing that. So the fact that he's still a threat, right? So until that threat goes away, I think they're going to keep playing him because the spacing is important.
Right.
And eventually he's going to get going. And second, like I said, so D'Lo does that. And you're just like, whoa, okay, here we are. And then just like I think it was like a few turnovers on both sides, some missed calls probably on both sides. The refs didn't have necessarily a great fourth quarter. When you see some of those replays, some of those guys got clobbered. So then they get the ball. They get a Josh steals. It was a stolen, right? They stole the ball. They break half court. Ja goes up and gets a layup with like 6 seconds left.
Yeah.
Right. And the Lakers always freak me out, make me worry about plays out of timeouts.
Oh, man.
And right. So what are you thinking when they're so real quick? I already know what you're thinking, but I want you to, I need to hear it. So when they call that timeout, and mind you, at the end of the game, you think you got LeBron James, you got Anthony Davis, you've got Austin Reeves, you got dudes who can get, I mean, it's home. Like in your right mind, you're like, oh, we're right where we want to be. I didn't feel that way.
So mind you, just in case everybody forgets, AD had just airballed a 3 from the corner. Right. I don't know if Braun hit him, but he just airballed a 3 from the corner. I'm just like, bro, what are you doing? And so at this point, I know Ham pretty much has, this is like when we're up, this is different, but when we're up, Ham has one play, and you guys know Dennis Schroeder runs backcourt, he hits him, and he runs away from everybody. Like he has just literally one sideline out of bounds play when we're up. Now, when we're losing, this is what I'm thinking. Please do not go to LeBron and let him settle for a sidestep, step back 3. For the love of God, please don't do that. That's my thinking. Please, God. That was, yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing you were thinking?
Yeah, same thing, same exact thing. Because like I said, that the Lakers, if we know it, other teams know it, right?
Yeah.
And they can stack up on it. So when that happens, but then when I'm sitting there, it's interesting because when you heard the I don't know if you heard this or not, but in the post-game press conference, I'll get back to that in a second. So when Braun gets the ball, I'm thinking immediately he's going to shoot a 3, because that's kind of par for the course for the Lakers in these games, right? Braun will dribble. But I think if there would have been 10 or 11 seconds on the clock, we would have lost that game. But I think because there was 6 seconds, he didn't have time to play around.
Creating more urgency, right?
Yeah. So I think when you get with Braun like that, if you notice, most of Braun's game winners, most of them are pretty much with under 6 seconds left. Usually lower, closer to 1. Catch, shoot, get off, no time to think, no time to really get rattled. But when you got 10, 15 seconds or a full 24, that's when I'm like, oh man, we know what's coming. You just got to hope it goes in. Yeah. But when he got it, he broke the middle and he went up, man. I thought he was going to miss it at first because it came out a little strong, and it did little need to roll around a little bit to get in there, and it went in. I think there was like 8/10 left.
Yep, exactly.
And then they call timeout, they get it in. AD blocks Ja's shot, and of course Braun catches it and throws and makes the heave. Can make that shot, but so we're going to overtime, and again, I'm like, you know what? This reminds me a little bit of the Minnesota game.
Yeah, grind it out over. Yeah,
grind it out. Some stupid stuff we did in the end. Like I said, 80 in the corner. I have no idea why he keeps hiding in that corner. Other than the fact that he's just probably not feeling right. His hip was bothering him. Chris Haynes said during the middle of the game. But what was interesting to me before we get to overtime is Desmond Bane in his post-game press conference was saying that we have our defense set up so the second and third guys can come help when Braun's going right to force him left. And they didn't do that.
I caught that. Yeah, I caught that.
And did you know who that they was?
Now they was him.
No, the they was Dylan Brooks.
Bane.
So if you look at the replay, Dylan Brooks goes to leave his man, takes about 1 step towards Braun, and then he thought that he was more afraid of Braun passing it to his guy than going to help. And to be honest,
basketball, you got to stop ball, right?
Yeah. And let's be real. Had they fouled him, I mean, there's no guarantee Braun makes both free throws.
Absolutely.
What would you, as a coach, if I'm telling my team, if he's going full head of steam to the cup,
wrap him up.
I mean, because if there's any contact, the refs are probably going to call it anyways, right? Well, unless you're in Boston. But just get him at that point and play the law of averages. Braun doing a layup or Braun at the free throw line? Yeah. What are you trying to go with, right? But I thought it was interesting that Bane just flat out said that, right? And
I think that shows where they are as a team, right? They're disconjointed. There's no leadership.
yep.
There's no veteran presence to kind of keep them together. Everybody's just yapping. Yeah.
Yeah, it's messy. So then it goes. We go to overtime, and once overtime started, the Lakers scored the first 2 baskets. Had a couple turnovers there, but you know what? As soon as overtime hit, I felt like I said, it felt like the Minnesota game all over to me, and I felt confident. I really didn't. I felt like Memphis was shocked that they were even in overtime, and their inexperience just kind of they just melted at that point. When Braun got the ball, and another kind of narrative that he killed. Dylan Brooks says he can't go left, right?
Yeah.
Try to force him left. Goes left. Braun knew exactly what he was doing. He sized them up. He made sure he was going to clear out to go left. Got the and one. And I haven't seen that Braun scream. That the last time he did that was that Clipper game in 2020.
Right before COVID, right?
Right before COVID. And that's when Braun does that scream when he knows something. Like when he knows, like, okay, like it's time. We're here now. They go up. He knew they were winning that game. He knew they were up 3-1. In his mind at that point, he feels he just won the series. So you could see it because the emotion just exploded out of him. So what were you feeling when you saw that and one? When you saw that later?
Bro, I woke up both of my sons. My dog woke up. I scream. Like I get into it. Like, man, I'm so passionate when the Lakers do stuff that's at the end of the game, especially. Let's go. I'm screaming. I was hyped, bro. I was hyped, super hyped.
Yeah, that was, and of course, Braun missed the free throw, right? Because that's the thing. Staples. I mean, Crypto can't stop calling it Staples. Crypto's rocking. He goes up there, bricks a free throw. But at that point, game's over. And I found it interesting that after the game that both Dylan Brooks and John Morant sat him out and chose not to talk to the media again. What are your thoughts on that?
They ducked the smoke, man. Like, I feel like you got to keep the same energy. Especially Dylan Brooks, both of them, man. Because Ja, he said we're good in the West. Dylan Brooks been running his mouth this whole series. He wanted to play LeBron. LeBron's old. He can't go left, this and that. And now look, you can't, it's not, what did he say? LeBron says no fun when the rabbit has a gun, right? And so the rabbit has a gun now and they're ducking and hiding. And so it's not good, man. It's just not a good look for him, for both of them. It's just a bad look, bro. And I think I lost a lot of respect for Ja for that.
Yeah, I think I've lost when Ja's been screaming out he can't guard me a lot. And he had a really bad game yesterday, shooting wise, right? He really wasn't. He really wasn't, especially when you're talking all that mess and Ja. I feel like Dylan Brooks is just trying to create a character for himself. I think he's more focused on the character than he is the basketball player. I think I think he feels that's his way in this league now, is to be that. I think it's going to burn him, and it's the wrong choice. But hey, to each his own, right? Ja's game can do a lot more talking than Brooks's game can. He doesn't need to talk like that. You know what I mean? Ja, all the stuff he's done, he's created this heat by himself. You know what I mean? He's brought this on himself. And the way he goes to the basket and throws his body, like he's going to have season-ending injuries like left and right if he doesn't stop doing that. But the fact that they're just flat out ducking the press conference after running their mouths, part of me is thinking, do you think the team is not letting them talk to reporters at this point because of what they've been saying and how it motivates teams?
Say that again. I lost you on that one.
Oh, yeah. So part of me thinks, do you think that maybe the team themselves are preventing them from talking to the media because of what they're talking has caused?
I don't think so, man. It kind of sounds like it could be, but I feel like they just don't want the pressure. Like I don't feel like they're built for it. But then again, as you say that, man, that's actually pretty interesting when you think about it. Maybe they're like, bro, you don't need to say nothing else. Like you said enough. So that's actually a good possibility too, now that I think about it.
Well, I mean, you think of anything where you're NBA, they've got their coaches, their GMs, their whole staff, and they're basically saying when they saw that Lakers first quarter in game 3, they're probably like, you don't say another word, nothing to no one, nothing. I think that's more possible than people think. And even if it's true, I love that it still makes them look bad. I love that it still makes them look bad. So it doesn't matter, right? But I think there's a legit chance that they were told to shut up. Like I think that's a legit chance. Whether it's true or not, I have no idea.
You know what I saw last night that's actually pretty crazy, that surprised me, talking about Dennis. He actually was a plus 24 last night. Yeah. And Rui was a plus 18. That's crazy. Plus 24 is insane.
Yep. And you know why? Because and I can't believe I'm saying this because I never would have predicted this. They're giving Rui the Beasley treatment. They're not leaving him. Now, so it's like, so I called him Rui Habachimura because that boy been cooking. And he didn't have a great game yesterday. He had a typical Rui game prior to his heater, right? But they're paying more attention now. They're adjusting to him. He still got, he still scored. He got clobbered on a play late in the game that they didn't call. Also, did you see when Braun made that layup to force overtime? Did you see Ja literally like on AD's shoulders, like
Yeah.
giving him like
Yeah.
like if Braun misses that, there more than likely would have been an over the back call there,
Yeah.
because he was that was ridiculous. No way they could have let that one go.
Yeah.
And you could see the ref kind of like goes like he's getting ready to call it, and then when he saw that LeBron made it, he didn't. I hate that when they just wait
And those
for
plays
it.
scare me, especially because what we've been through in the season. You mentioned Boston earlier. Like LeBron, I'm glad that he didn't settle and he went to the rack. But like
Yeah.
he has a worse whistle in the NBA, and I'm so glad that he didn't get clobbered and the ref not called the foul and he missed the shot. You know what I'm saying? Like I was
Yeah.
really starting to mentally prepare for that to happen.
Yeah, his whistle is horrible, and I think it's crazy because so many people are trying to say there's like this Laker conspiracy theory of how they got all these free throws, and it's like, well, you got two dudes that no one can guard. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just what happens when Braun is going to the cup. Like, you really, if he's deciding to go there, you're gonna have to foul him or hope he misses. And AD in the paint is a problem. So when you have two dominant forces like that who are intent on getting to the basket, they're gonna live at the line, and
Yeah.
then then you pick up these other fouls on the perimeter. The Lakers get into the bonus so quick because of just, because of them not settling for threes. They shoot like the least amount of threes in the league. So
Yeah.
when you do that, the refs always reward the aggressor. And my
For
boy
sure.
kept texting me last night. He was like, why are they calling everything for Memphis right now? Well, because the Lakers are kind of playing back on their heels and Memphis is being aggressive. They're getting the calls.
Mhm.
So now, so after that game, that was probably the best Laker game, for money, right? With money on the line, or with,
Oh
with the
yeah.
season on the line in a while, since 2020.
Yeah.
Sent it at first in LA with a full crowd, since what, 2012. So
Yeah.
it was great to see. It was great to hear the crowd. So what do you think of moving forward? Do you think we shut it out, or do we come home for game 6?
So, when Lakers win, I watch all the sports shows. I listen to all the radio shows. When they lose, I stay away. So today, I woke up early watching, Get Up and all this stuff. And so
Yeah.
everybody's picking Memphis to win the game 5. I think Lakers, if we can come out and take their best shot, because Memphis is going to come out and they're going to give everything they have for the first 5 minutes. And if we could withstand that blow and fight back, I think we have a really good chance of winning the game. I definitely think if we do happen to go to game 6, we're going to close them out. But I would really like to close this game out in game 5 and not have to come back to LA on Friday.
Yeah, I agree. They say the hardest game is a closeout game. I don't know if I necessarily believe that, because it depends on who you're playing. If you're playing a former champion, yeah, those are tough. If you're playing an inexperienced or a young team, it's not necessarily the toughest. So I think I think it's gonna go like this. I think it's like you said. I think Memphis will come out. They will try for the first 5 minutes, and then if the Lakers are applying any type of pressure in the back of their minds, like, do we really want to fly back to LA and take this L? Why
Mhm.
fly west when we can just fly straight south to Cancun? You know what I mean? Why fly west, right? And I've seen this so many times. Like I touched on, like, Braun's face when he knew that, when he felt the series was over. You can tell when a team feels the series is over. These injuries are going to start popping up. These lingering, going to have guys on the bench throwing in the towel. Like, you'll see it. I actually think the Lakers take care of business. I think they finish it up tomorrow. I really think they do. I think Braun smells blood, and I think AD's, it's been every other game, right? So I think
Mhm.
AD is going to have a big game tomorrow. And I think the Lakers are going to really value the rest that comes with getting the win tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely. Especially when you look at the Kings and Warriors series that's potentially going to go 7 games. So that gives us a couple extra days, and especially AD's banged up. Everybody's banged up in the playoffs right now. So I think if with that in mind, kind of the same mindset we had going into the Timberwolves game, like, if you take care of business, you got some days of rest. So if they come out and just punch them in the mouth early and sustain that lead, I think we should be fine.
Gotcha. Yeah, I agree. So moving forward, assuming we win this series and we go on to round 2, who would you rather face, the Warriors or the Kings?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about that for a few days. So the Kings are super tough, and I think the thing about the Kings is they don't fear anybody. They have nothing to lose. They're not supposed to be here. They're in house money. Mike Brown, is pulled these guys to play really well above their pay grade. And so, with that being said, they're young. I don't know if they get out of this series, but with that being said, like, I know they'll just come out and just do whatever they have to do to win, because they don't care, because they're not supposed to be here. But I think I would rather play the Warriors, and only because I feel like they're at the end of the road, and I feel like they do have the championship experience, which is tough, but they got no answers for Anthony Davis and no answers for LeBron James. And I feel like we would probably beat them in 6. So I would rather play them. I feel like they're at the brink of just being done, just kind of like the Lakers were at the end of their 3P in 2004, all that stuff. And so I feel like, you know, they're ready to kind of fall apart with the right team.
Yeah, that's fair. I too would prefer the Warriors, just because we've kind of had their number. The Kings have kind of had our number, but Anthony Davis hasn't played against them in like 2 years, I think. So I know for sure this year he hasn't played against them. So it's like we haven't really had and I'm not at the top of my head. We either went 1-3 or 2-2 against them. I think we went 2-2 against them. Like I got to double check that, but I know we won in Sacramento that game where Fox thought he got fouled on the last shot. They didn't call it.
Yeah.
But I'm like on a Twitter rampage, and I thought we beat them once at home, but I'm not sure if we went 1-3 or 2-2. However, I would say that for pace wise, I'd probably, even though the Lakers like to play with pace, they do. I don't know if they want to run back and forth for a whole series with Sacramento. I don't know. I don't know the health of Fox. I don't know what that's going to be, but I have the Warriors in 6 in this series. I'm still sticking to that, especially after they rallied off the 2 at home. All they got to do is win 1 in Sacramento. I know their road record is terrible, but I trust them to get 1 in Sacramento more than I trust Sacramento to get 1 in the Warriors building. So I think the Warriors take that series in 6. And then I think it's Lakers Warriors, and the Lakers gonna have to be on the road the entire playoffs, right? They're not gonna have home court advantage at all.
Right.
So they go. That's going to be interesting because Golden State is tough at home. If this plays out, right? Golden State is tough at home, but the Lakers have won in that building, and they can win in that building. And man, just LeBron and Steph in round 2.
Man, that's gonna be. And then Draymond is what Dylan Brooks wishes he was. You know what I'm saying? And so he has that championship experience, 4 rings. He knows his role. He's willing to do whatever, and he knows what he's doing. He's not out there trying to be something he's not. And so it's definitely gonna be a war, man. But I feel like LeBron and AD are just super hungry right now, super hungry for another one.
They're ready. I think. So what did they call it? They called. I think Windhorst called him Draymond. Called Dylan Brooks Draymond Light.
Yeah,
like Draymond Light. But yeah. So I'm excited for that. I thought all 3 teams tonight were going to Cancun, and Atlanta just proved me wrong.
I saw that. Ice Tray came through, man.
Wow. I literally titled this. Thank God, this isn't a live stream because I'll have to edit this, but I literally titled it 3 teams going to Cancun tonight. Like literally titled it that. So, it's not live, so I can't get called out for it, but the listeners later will still hear that because I'm just going to keep it a buck on that. Yeah. But, so I still have Phoenix winning tonight, and I still have Denver winning tonight. I have both teams advancing, and there's nothing more beautiful in the world right now than the Lakers being 3-1, up 3-1, and the Clippers being down 3-1. And the Clippers, Brooklyn is out there in Cancun just getting things set up lovely for the Clippers right now. Just getting set up lovely right now. And the 2 teams that from 2 years ago that they thought they were going to own the league, and they're going to be some of the 2 first ones out there. So that makes me happy. So
all is well in the world.
So exactly. So second round of those matchups, assuming it's going to be Phoenix and Denver. Who do you like in that series?
I really think the lack of depth that Phoenix has there. I'm not sure if I'm correct, but I feel like the starters for the Suns have scored about 75 to 85% of the total points for this series against the Clippers. So Jokic and the Denver Nuggets play basketball the right way, and I feel like Jokic is just gonna dog walk Ayton, and it's gonna be I think it'll be a gentleman's sweep, or it'll be in 6 maybe if KD or Booker could will them to another game. But I feel like Denver's too good right now. They play too well. They're very cohesive. Phoenix is still trying to figure things out, and they have no depth, man. I know Cameron Payne should be coming back soon, but he's really not a factor when it comes to the size that Denver has, especially in their front line.
Yeah, that's tough for us. It was tough for us because we have 2 teams we can't stand, Lakers and Phoenix, and you're trying to decide who you want to root for, and it's like, can they both just lose? Like, and something just happened. But yeah. So I've got the same thing. I've got Denver in that series, and it's funny you mentioned because you say that the percentage of points coming from the starters, and then when you dig even deeper, then you realize it's mostly Booker and KD. Yeah. So they're getting most of their points, right? And they just don't have the depth. And I think the biggest thing that's going to burn them is just the amount of minutes that KD is playing. Yeah.
Well, these dudes are playing like 40-something minutes per game, all of them.
Yeah. And he didn't like the first 2, 1, 2, game 1, game 2, and even game 3. his legs are not there. He was leaning against, the thing that holds up the basket back there. He was dying. Game 4, he had a little bit more explosion, a little bit more like energy. He's sensing towards the end of the series. He knew, get this win, it's over. But he didn't look in shape to me the first few games of that series, and I think he's playing his way into shape. So going into Denver, playing in altitude when you're not really in shape necessarily, and I think if Denver, assuming health and these guys, KD just doesn't go absolutely ballistic, then I think Denver can get them in 5 or 6, unless something happens. It's funny because I had Denver potentially. Denver was a team that I said I could see going out in the first round, depending on who they match up, or go all the way to the Western Conference Finals. And looks like they're going to escape. They're definitely going to escape round 1, and then I think they do escape round 2 if they face them. So let's talk of the East right now. I did not have it Miami giving it to Milwaukee like this.
Man.
I did not. Right. Even without Giannis, that team is capable of beating the 8th seed in the East. Right.
Yeah.
And they're just not. And I know Giannis was back yesterday, but he didn't look like he had much lift, or he didn't have his explosiveness. He was there. He got points, but they weren't the same. You know what I mean? So if there ever was a team that could come back 3-1, I think Milwaukee could. Braun could come back 3-1. I could see Giannis doing a 3-1 comeback, but he has to be right. If he's not right, they're not coming back 3-1.
Yeah, I agree. So, I feel like you said it, man. I feel like I think that the Bucks, if Giannis is right, can force a game 7, and in game 7 anything can happen. I feel like they have the team, the championship experience, they got the coaching, they got the depth, all that. But right now, Jimmy, they're shorthanded too. Losing Tyler Hero was a big blow to them, but Duncan Robinson came off the bench, and he's been playing great for them, in his limited minutes. So he's been filling the role, and they're playing seamlessly. They're playing like, again, you don't want to face guys that have nothing to lose, man, with their backs against the wall. And they're, that's what Miami is. And Jimmy Butler, playoff Jimmy, is a different breed. He's like playoff Rondo, man. It's another level.
Yeah. I was catching hell today. I put a tweet out there. I don't even remember how long ago it was. And I was just like, Jimmy Butler is not a superstar. He's not a guy that can carry a team to a championship, let alone, he's not a superstar. To me, my criteria for superstar is a really high bar. Jimmy is a very, very good player, especially come playoff time, but he's just not a superstar. And so I was just getting belted today because of what he did last night. Like, he had a superstar performance, historic performance last night.
For sure.
No way around that. But I don't feel Jimmy is a superstar. I don't think he is. He's a hell of a two-way player, but he's not a superstar. Would you agree with that or no?
I would definitely agree with you. And I feel like part of it has to do with like marketability. I think that's part of it, but I feel like he just doesn't have that star power. He just doesn't possess that star power. So yeah, I definitely agree.
I just think, like, to me, there's borderline all-star, there's all-star, there's perennial all-star, there's all-NBA player, perennial all-NBA player, and then superstar. It's kind of how I look at it. Like, over the last maybe 10 years, I think really only superstars were Bron, KD, Steph, and Giannis. I don't really think that there were any super. Like, Kawhi's on the bubble, but you know what I mean, as far as his skill wise, I was even really stingy with calling him a superstar. But let's say we throw him in there. That's 5. Like these other guys, like Paul Georges, these guys are that like the Devin Bookers, like I mean, the list goes on. Trae Youngs, all these Tatums, Brown, like, these guys are not superstars. They're perennial all NBA players. Yes, and they are excellent. I take any of them in a second. But I just don't want to water down the superstar brand. Like, superstar is special. Those are generational talents. And it's not these guys are not all superstars. So then the series I did see, the 2 upsets I picked are coming to fruition, at least it looks to be. Is I picked the Lakers over the Grizzlies. I was extremely confident in that. And I've been saying all year, I felt the Cavs were a year too early. Incredible defense, but I felt come playoff time, other than Mitchell, and he has struggled. I felt that they could get got, and I felt that Brunson is battle tested, and I felt that he was going to bring a lot to that New York team, and he has. He's not out there dropping 35 or 40, but he's getting big time clutch buckets, and he's willing that team to victory. And I just love the fact that the New York Knicks are about to go to the second round, and the Garden is rocking because it's better for the league. Because when you think about it, we got the Knicks, Philly, Boston, and LA all relevant at the same time. It's so good for the
It's
league.
been a while, man. I
Yeah.
can't even tell you how long it's been. And man, I think the last time the Knicks, I mean, Melo's years, they were, they were okay, but like I think back like when it was really rocking was like the 94, 95 years, and with Patrick Ewing and John Starks and all those guys. So it really is cool to see because the Garden is loud, man, and those fans, they've been
Yeah.
waiting and they're hungry just to cheer. And so they've been showing up and showing out, man. I'm happy for them.
Yeah, I'm loving it. And the only good thing I could think about it, because like part of me still wants Milwaukee to win that series because I want Giannis to progress in the playoffs. But getting that nostalgic series of the Knicks versus Heat,
Yeah.
that would be dope. I
Remember that
would not
fight?
mind seeing that. Yeah, yeah, I would not mind. Bring the Van Gundys over there, like bring those dudes back. Like I love
Yeah.
seeing like the sideline, seeing John Starks and those dudes on the sideline. It's been like, I mean, I think the last time the Knicks were in the finals, like they had to interrupt it for the OJ chase, right? So it's like it's
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
so it's been so long, like man. So um it is wait, or did they who did no. Who did the Spurs beat in 99? Was that the Knicks?
It was the Knicks. Yep.
The Knicks. Okay, so
Latrell
OJ.
Sprewell and all this.
Yeah, yeah. So OJ. Okay, so the Knicks went against the Rockets, and then later. So that wasn't the last time. My fault. My fault. New York. My fault. But they have not been there since '99. So I'm not saying I want them to win a championship, obviously, because I want us to. But I think when the Knicks are great, it's good for the league. So, um, what about? Well, I still think Boston's going to win this series. I know they're up 3-2 now. They're going back to Atlanta, but I still got Boston in this series. Philly and Boston. We're going to talk about Philly for a minute here because you've been getting on me for this. I have a method to my madness here. Philly has looked different to me this year. I gave on Philly about 2 years ago. I'm like, I'm never falling for them again. I'm never believing in them again. I really like Joel. I'm not a Harden guy. I'm not a Doc guy. I'm not just blindly rooting for them, right? Like it's
Mhm.
just they look a little different to me. They seem a little different to me, and conjunction with the eye test and just some stats that are very, very important. They have all the makings of a team that should advance. But the problem is they're one of only two teams who match all that criteria, and the other team they're playing. So that's top 10 offense, top 10 defense, top 10 lowest turnovers, top 10 highest 3-point percentage. So those typically, if you've earned those four categories, then you're a championship contender.
Yeah.
Typically, but the game has changed a little bit. So typically, it was like top five. I've aged it a little bit and brought it into the top 10 instead to adjust to today's game. But those are the only two teams in the league that fit that criteria. So
Yeah.
between the eye test and the stats, because I don't just use one, I use both. And when you look at all of that, that tells me Philly's real. Now, we'll see if they are or not. Joel getting hurt again. We'll see. They'll probably play a factor, but they're not the same Philly team from a couple years ago. They're just not. Now, I'm not saying the ending is going to end any differently because they just can't beat Boston at all. They can't beat them. Regular season, postseason, preseason, midseason tournament when they have them, they can't beat them. So it's
Mhm.
like that's the only thing. Is it did they finally become the team that should advance, but then they go up against the team they just never compete, right?
Yeah.
So who do you have in that series if it gets to it?
Yeah. So I mean, being a Laker fan, you never like to root for the Celtics, but I feel like the Celtics are just built the right way, man. Like the thing I've been looking at all year long is like they literally got to the finals, lost their whole head coach, got a new head coach, and still was one of the best teams in the whole NBA throughout the whole season. So that tells you something. That tells you that Brad Stevens and the staff built a roster that's built the right way. And
Yeah.
so, defensively, they got guys White, Marcus Smart, they're just tough, man. And then on if you get on Tatum Island or Jaylen Brown Island, they're hard to guard, man. And so like they got guys that everybody knows their role, everybody knows what they're out there doing. Horford, everybody just plays the right way, and they're a tough team to beat. So I think Boston will probably win in 6. How do you have it?
I got Boston taking the series. Just like I said, I've been high on Philly, but if they were facing any other team, I think I would take them to get to the conference finals. But I have not seen them show any type of realm of them being able to beat Boston 4 out of 7.
Mhm.
If it happens, good for them. But I think Boston's a better team. I think like I said, the two J's are just if Boston's hitting their threes, keeping their turnovers low, and their defense is elite. The only thing And even though he's a rookie coach, he's been solid. The only thing, and I'm not big on Doc, and he gets out coached all the time. I think the only advantage Philly has is not only a veteran coach, but a veteran coach who has coached there, knows the pressure this kid is going to face, and maybe he exploits that a little bit. Outside of that, I don't see where they have an advantage other than Joel. But I like Time Lord, I like Boston's bigs, but Joel's the best big in that series. And just seeing how Joel health is. But I would have Boston. I think 6 is fair. I'm not sure Philly stretches them to 7, and I don't know if Boston can sweep them. But I do. I think 6 is safe. So that's pretty much would be caught up with that. Other than that, let's say Miami does advance, and it is Knicks versus Miami. Who would you have winning that series?
If Knicks and Miami, I think man, because Miami's, they're coming off a high of being, one of the few 8 seeds to ever beat a 1 seed. And so, but I think the Knicks they're just playing at a different level right now. I know Julius Randle is not playing the best basketball of the season right now, but they just have a lot of weapons. Bringing in Josh Hart was the best move that this team could have made throughout the midseason. Obviously, Brunson bringing him in the offseason was phenomenal, but they're in a place right now where they're just playing basketball and they look real good. So I think that I think it'll probably go 7. I think I got the Knicks. I would have the Knicks hypothetically coming out of that series.
I agree. We don't disagree on much, apparently. So it's like, I agree. I also think that this is a rough series for Julius to get off. I think Julius would have a better series against Miami. It's more his skill set would kind of fit a little more, his bully ball or like the grind versus playing Miami. I think he would have a more impact in that series. So I think I would take the Knicks in 7. Man, if it's New York and Boston in the Eastern Conference, we're just getting, man. So you get one of either, if our scenario plays out, then you get one of New York or Boston in the finals.
Yeah.
And God, versus if the Lakers can get that would be so epic. Oh my God.
I was actually at the 2010 game 1. Well, I believe, Lakers had home court in 2010. Yeah, at game 1 of the NBA Finals, Boston and Lakers, man. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
I hadn't gone to I've been to some pretty marquee games. I didn't go to that final series in 2010. I wish I did. But at the time, man, it was crazy. It was crazy to get in there. But that was such a classic series, man. That was so dope. I would love to get them back because I feel like the generation after us really doesn't truly understand the rivalry. They really don't. Like they were raised to hate them, but they haven't really had their hearts broken by them. Really. You know what I mean? Not multiple times. You know what I mean? So it's like for a lot of people, they're 1-1 as far as the Celtics go. It's not a real rivalry to them, coming up like the Phoenix Suns, the Clippers in their minds, right? Because we've the back and forth. They or even like the Spurs, but they haven't really had and I take that back. I'm not calling the Clippers a rival. That's not what I meant. But I'm talking about the teams that they're often discussed most about, right? Yeah. But Phoenix has been more of a rival to that generation, like and the battles we've had with them versus then the Celtics. So for that generation's purpose, I hope that we get some more Lakers Celtics finals, and then that rivalry gets ugly again. You know what I mean? And gets to where it's ugly in a good way, to where it's like you just you know what I mean. And the thing is, I don't really. I tell those people all the time. People think I'm crazy. I don't hate the Celtics. I just hate losing to them. I respect their culture. I respect their history. You know what I mean? Because you have to. They're right up there with us. You know what I mean? So it's like, I mean, I watched a lot of their games because I'm just a league pass junkie, and I got a lot of friends that are Celtic fans. One of my co-hosts, DJ Deadeye, shout out to him. He comes on here all the time. We talk ball. You know what I mean? But it's like, I don't hate the Celtics. I just hate losing to them, and I really love beating them. You know what I mean? But you know what I mean? They got great history. You know what I mean? And I'm not, necessarily rooting for them, if we don't make it, but outside of that, but anyways, we're just about done here. Just got a couple more questions here. Who would you label so far right now the MVP of the playoffs? Who's playing the best right now?
I mean, you got to kind of go to Jimmy. You got to kind of go with Jimmy, not just for what he did last night, but I mean, just overall how he's willing his team against the top seed in the NBA. Not aside from Denver, he's playing ball,
record,
man.
Top record.
Top record. And so he's leading his team, man, undermanned, and he's doing it. I think Jokic is playing great as he has been in the regular season, and actually Joel was playing pretty damn good before he went down as well. I think, but if I would say if I had to give it to one person, I would probably say Jimmy Butler.
Gotcha. Okay, Jimmy. So I'm struggling with three. I would Jimmy. Um, I don't like this guy, but Devin Booker.
Yeah,
And Joel. But I'd probably go what Jimmy. Yeah, what Jimmy did last night. He's got to get the edge right now. Like he just, my God, that was so historic last night. So, but okay. But other than that, we covered what we think the Lakers are going to do. So like thank you for coming on. Definitely want to make
yeah,
you a regular on here. We talk ball all the time. You might as well put it. Might as well put it out there for the rest
for
of the year, right?
sure.
So, anything else? Anything you want to promote your socials again one more time and all that before we get out of here?
Yeah. So if you guys like to follow, Twitter is at the Lake Show Show, the Lake Show Show. And so, I just talk ball mostly, Lakers, Dodgers. That's pretty much what I'm at right now.
Gotcha. And I need you guys to do like I do. Stay on this guy because he does great content when he chooses to do it. He's great at breaking down
Man,
film. He's got his own YouTube. He's really good at it. I just got always to be on him to keep at it. He's a busy guy, but he's talented. So I'm gonna keep pushing him. You guys do the same.
appreciate you.
But
Appreciate you guys.
no doubt. But outside of that, this has been another episode of the Agree to Disagree podcast. I am Empire Jeff. You can find me on Twitter at EmpireJeff_ and also on YouTube at EmpireJeffTV. And real quick, for those who are watching, you can go ahead and you can scan this QR code on the screen right now. Links you to everything I'm involved with. And I appreciate you guys' support. Joe, one more time, I appreciate you. And I'll have you on again soon.
Absolutely. Most definitely. Appreciate you, man.
Guys, have a good one. Go Lakers.
Peace.